Five, four, three, two, one. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Bottom of the Ninth podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Rodriguez. Today we're here with top prospect Max Clark. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Elijah, man? I appreciate you having me on. First
Dude,
off, I'm super excited to be here. So I appreciate the invite. Let's get to this, man.
Hell yeah, man, dude. So have you heard of Baseball Express before? Have you heard of us?
Yeah, I have. So I saw you guys on Instagram like a couple of times. Then you reached out to me. Funny enough, like I had just seen your stuff on like my Explore page, and then you guys reached out, and I was like, dude, we gotta hop on this. So yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, man, we're doing some pretty exciting things, man. We're doing some so obviously we sell all kinds of baseball stuff. We work with like the best brands, all your favorites, man. Marucci, I see you swinging that Cat X, dude. That thing's hot. That thing is
dude,
hot.
It's unreal. Best BB car I've ever swung in my life by far.
Ooh, that's controversial, man. You know the Bat Bros, I'm sure, right? They're not. They love
I know,
that Atlas and that Voodoo, but
I know, dude. Like, so I swung the Voodoo, I swung the Cat X, swung the Goods, I swung the Stinger 3 missile, and I swung. There was one more I swung. Oh, I swung the Guardian Stinger as well. And I would honestly go. I'd go Cat X, Stinger 3 missile, Voodoo, Goods, Guardian.
Ooh, that's dude. That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
It is a hot take.
It's a hot take.
Yeah,
but no, dude. Like
people
I swung
because the Goods.
You know, dude, the Goods, man. I don't know, because I do all the bat testing here, so I've swung them all. I've swung all the bats you're talking about. I'm like, the Voodoo one is dude. That bat is hot, but the Goods is okay. The Atlas, bro, I did not like the Atlas in the slightest.
I didn't either.
Clunky. No.
Yeah, it's just like
I did not.
Weird feeling. Yeah. It doesn't feel good when it comes off the hands. Like a lot of my like college buddies that I work out with, that's what all they swing because they're all swinging like one pieces and stuff for the season. And so my buddy had a 34 when he was in here in the winter, and we were going back and forth. And I was like, you know what, I'll take a round with this. And it was just not my thing, man. Not for me. I love the Voodoo. The only thing I'd have to swing like a 34 in that because it's so light, so light.
Yeah. I'm not as strong as you are, dude. So I need that extra bat speed, dude. You know, you got a ridiculous swing, dude. It's insane. So let's kind of get into. We talk about bats. Yeah, that's interesting though, because I'm a huge Marucci fanboy. I just posted a picture. I've been rocking Marucci since like 14, dude.
Heck yeah.
I've been Marucci's my shit, dude. But anyway, man. So you're from Franklin, Indiana. Have you been there your whole life?
Yep.
You've lived there your whole life?
Yep. Born and raised, man.
I've never been to Indiana. So Franklin, is that a smaller town, or is that kind of like, is that what people stay there a while and they move out from there? Is that something that happens around there? Or?
Honestly, like when I was first born, Franklin was like a pretty small town. We were like 20,000 people when I was born. But like in the last 5 or 6 years, we've actually become a booming like small business town. So there's actually an influx of people right now. We're up to like 34,000. So it's kind of like that medium, like, yeah, it's like small square footage, but there's a lot of people for the square footage. So
gotcha.
we are the biggest A for like sports. So like we're a 5A school. So we're the top competition around here. So but yeah, I mean it's a pretty like one of those like, you know, small home like Indiana towns, a lot of like countryside. It's really beautiful. But yeah, I mean it's awesome. I enjoy it here. The people are really, really good. And that's kind of like the one thing I always talk about. It's just like when you kind of have these small communities, sometimes it's hard to, like, you know, some people like you, some people hate you, some people don't know you. But like around here, just everyone's super supportive of everything. They're always at the games. Like we literally played on a Tuesday night and it was like pouring rain up until first pitch. Like it was not a good night. And there were still 500, 700 people in the stands at Tuesday at 5:30. Like, I mean, it's nuts.
Holy crap.
It's great. Yeah, it's awesome.
Dude, that's got to be an awesome environment to play in. Holy crap.
It's fantastic, man. And like it's everybody, man. It's so supportive. Like we just started like a GPC, which is kind of like a booster club for our high school. It's called Christian Baseball Club. And go donate if you want, you know. I know, but I'm kidding. Find them on Twitter. But little promo there. But no, like we had so many businesses around Franklin that were like fundraising opportunities for us that just jumped right on the train, and like they have billboards all over our field and stuff. So really appreciative of that. But it's like everybody supports the sport community here very, very strongly. So we love it here.
Yeah, well now, so as you say that, we're talking about Franklin. So I know you're you played football. You're a football player. Did you? I saw your thing you did with baseball lifestyle. So you did play basketball for a while too. I guess your freshman year. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so freshman and sophomore year, and then we got my junior year. We got a new coach, and he was a fantastic coach, man. He's like he's probably one of the best basketball players to ever come through Franklin, and he ended up coming back. Played in the Canadian League and the G League for a while, but he was injured all the time, so he never really made it up. But I mean, he was like a 26 point per game dude in the Canadian League, man. He was really good. So he just demanded way more time out of his players. And he and I had a really good heart-to-heart combo. And he's like, dude, I know the position that you're in. And that was great to have alongside me because, like, I really wanted to play, but it was one of those things where, like, we're glad you take you on the team, but, like, we want you to go and do your baseball things first. And obviously that's going to reflect on your playing time. And it's like I'm one of those kids who, you know, I'm not going to just, like, sit on the bench when I know that I should be. Like, I would have been a starter on them. I started my freshman sophomore year. And it was just one of those things that, like, it was one of those business decisions that you have to make. One of those sacrifices you have to make. But, you know, I ended up leading the field section there, so it was fun. Me and my buddies front rowed it. It was awesome. So, yeah.
That's tight, though, dude. That's cool. So I got to ask, so you're talking about you got like 500 people at a baseball game on a Tuesday night. How are football games out there on a Friday night?
Oh, dude. It's like FNL in Indiana is crazy. It's so underrated. I mean, so in our sectional championship, which is it's the first round of playoffs here, we were playing our like crosstown rivalry, which is like a huge game for us. We play them in the regular season too, and we play for the boot. And it's like your regular season like championship where you guys can kind of like win an award or whatever. And there were over 5,000 people there for our sectional championship.
Holy crap, dude, that's insane.
It's nuts. And it was colder than cold. Like it was so live. I mean, both stands on both sides completely full. It was standing room only all the way around. It was nuts.
Dude, that's crazy. You're putting a running on for
like the energy was crazy.
Yeah, dude. Like, so like I'm from Texas. I live in San Antonio, so like football down here is stupid here. It's insane. So like now you're saying that, I'm like football's growing, man. It's getting bigger and bigger everywhere because everyone's like, oh, football in Texas is like the king. But I'm hearing this, and I'm like, I don't think it's the king anymore. I think we got some runners coming up. That's insane, dude.
Yeah, you guys are definitely still at the top of the totem pole, but like it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. Yeah, they're coming for us, bro. So let's talk about you, bro. So it was baseball. So I know you said you played all these sports, and I'm sure growing up you played all these sports as well. So you had that talk with that basketball coach, and baseball obviously was going to be taking the priority. Had it always been that way, or was there ever a point where I was like, dang, like because I saw some film on you. I did my research, bro. You're a hell of a football player too. I think you're just a natural athlete, my man. Because Jesus, my gosh, you're a monster, man. So was there ever like and I know like obviously baseball. You know, my parents were the same way. Like baseball was like one of those things where it's like, no, you're gonna play one, like risk an injury, all that stuff. Was there ever a point where I was like, you know, you may pull a duel and go somewhere and play maybe football and baseball? Or was that ever like a thought, or was it always going to be like I'm riding baseball all the way through?
It was 100% a thought, and like I had the opportunity to do both at the next level at a handful of places. But for me, baseball was always a step ahead. It had been that way since I was 12 or 13, and honestly, it was like that when I was younger too. Like I always played the other sports, but I was always looking forward to baseball season. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we got to get through this so that we can play baseball type of thing. But I mean, football was definitely my second favorite, and like it was always neck and neck with baseball growing up. Basketball was like my fun sport, I guess you could say. I didn't really take it as seriously. I just kind of like you said, I just kind of let my athleticism take over there. You know, I got the easy layups, fast breaks, could shoot a little bit. Like I wasn't really in love with basketball ever. And that that definitely made it easier to kind of get rid of it, just focus on baseball and football. Right. But yeah, I mean, growing up, it was always baseball, to be completely honest. Like I said, football was close, but my dream was baseball. I spent my entire life basically playing it. I mean, I'm going on my 15th year now playing baseball, so it was fun doing all of that. But baseball always had the edge. I always knew that this was going to be the thing that I want to try and do this at the next level. And honestly, it was one of those things where like my brother was a really good baseball and football player. My dad was a really good football player and a pretty good baseball player. So it was like I grew up watching both of them, and I grew up like around that area. So it really was like my focus was both baseball and football. So It was fun. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And honestly, there are days that I wish that football, I wish I had another year, but definitely glad that like baseball
Yeah.
season's here. I'm excited to kind of get going now. But yeah, I'm hoping Mother Nature kind of holds out. We've already had 3 cancellations,
Dude,
so
seriously.
yeah,
That's
it's
insane,
nuts.
dude. That's crap.
We've
It's
only
funny
played
because
3 of our 6.
oh, that's it?
Yeah, dude.
3 games? Oh
Yeah, so
man.
here we don't start till our first like opening day in Indiana is April 1st.
Okay.
So or no, March 29th. So we didn't play till April 1st this year, but March 29th we open here. And it's like, I mean, I've played in 40 degrees all 3 games, and the other 3 have gotten canceled because it's been hailing and freezing rain. So, yeah, it's freezing right now. It's 38 degrees right now. So,
Dude, hell no. See, that's the wild thing, man. Like I was talking to Brian over at Kraken a couple days ago, and he was telling me about the weather and how, because we're talking like some business stuff, we're talking like about some business stuff, and I was like, how are we gonna get? Because he's the one that told me, like, he goes, well, like, hey, dude, this was about a month ago. He's like, hey, well, baseball hasn't really started up in the north, and sometimes I forget that, man, because like here in Texas, like we start in January 20th,
yeah,
Martin
exactly.
Luther
Yeah.
King Jr. Day is like
Yeah.
that's the like designated day of like practices are starting, like we're ready to go,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's always been that
Yep.
way. So to hear like all you guys talk about it, like, oh, we don't start till April 1st, March 29th. I'm like, God dang, we're already like 30 games
Yeah,
in
getting
by that
ready
time, man.
halfway
That's
done. Like,
wild.
I was talking to one of the I don't know if you know the name Shot by Hype, but he does content creation, and
Yeah, yeah.
he's from North Carolina. So he was shooting Walker the other day, and I was like, dang, they've already played like 15 games, something like that. And then he's coming up to watch me play because I play at the Pirates AAA Stadium, Victory Field here in
Okay.
downtown Indy. It's a
Nice.
huge game. We play the #1 team in the state, so it'll be a blast. But
Yeah.
he booked it and he posted it on a story, and it like he circled like Max Clark trip, but then right under it was like round 3 of North Carolina playoffs. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, we don't even start playoffs for 4 more weeks after that. Like our state championship is June 18th.
Holy crap. So y'all are going
That's
way
a month.
deep.
That's a month after I get out of school. I graduate the 20th. My graduation is the 20th of May.
That is insane, dude. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
that's
It's
just a
nuts.
culture shock, bro. That's more of a culture shock thing than anything. So you're playing like
It's
summer ball in the like through your
yeah,
that's
yeah. So like
insane, dude.
yeah, so like when I was on the Bulls this summer, we had a bunch of kids from like Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, a lot of Midwest kids. And so our
Yeah.
first 2 tournaments, we got eliminated first round last year because we were injury stricken last year. It was bad, so many injuries. But either way, besides the point, I was talking to our head coach, and I was like, hey, how's our roster looking? Because I knew that his team, he has a high school team, and I knew that they were they were in the running for state. So I knew that like 2 of our arms were going to be there because they played for him. And I was like, so where's everybody else like? And there were still 8 kids in state playoffs. It was nuts because Michigan goes even longer than us.
Wow. Damn, that's insane. So I got a question. So my question is like, so once you graduate, like, I know you're a Vandy commit, which is insane, dude. Vanderbilt is legit, which I'm gonna ask you some questions about that. What went into that decision, but they don't have restrictions like because once like especially like down here in the South, like once like summer ball like or like high school baseball stops in like mid-May, like it may roll into June if you really make it deep down here, but it really doesn't go that. That's like the first 2nd week of June. Do they want you to keep playing your season because in a month and a half you're reporting over there to campus? How does that go? Did they give you any specifics on that? Obviously, we're not taking into account any other routes you do possibly take, but do they have any restrictions? Like, are you allowed to play through even though you report in a month? Is that like kind of a gray area or?
Yeah, so like it's funny you say that because like Vandy, like they reported it in like July, and then you can there's like 2 different or there's 2 or 3 different like report times. We were talking about this on our visit because like RJ Austin was a kid who he went early and like trained during the summer with Vanderbilt because he needed to add some weight and stuff like this, so he got on their strength plan. And I want to say he reported in like mid-June, late July or early July, but then I know that the regular report time is in like August or something like that. So it kind of just depends on like what fits your schedule because there were also dudes who were playing in like summer leagues, and like Coach Corbin and I were having a conversation about that. Like, he was addressing the recruiting class. We had like a panel, and so one of the questions was about summer ball. Like the guys were talking like it's really up to you and what you need for your game, and like do you need a couple extra swings? Like were you injured this season? Stuff like that. It really just comes down to what's the best route for you. And like if you're going the college route, then you have guys that are reporting in July to train, guys that are reporting in June to, Nebraska to play in a Great Lakes League or something like that. Or not Great Lakes League, but you know what I mean. And then you'd have guys that just report in August because they they didn't need to report early for like anything special. They kind of wanted to just hang back. And then, obviously the guys who report early are going to have like a little bit of an upper leg, but it just depends on what fits you the best, I guess.
Yeah, man. That's kind of cool. That's like treating it like, obviously I didn't play in anywhere that massive. So it was always like, we got one report date and that's like, that's what you got to be on this date.
Yeah.
So that's kind of insane. But I've heard of that, I hear that all the time, like, especially like you hire prospects and all these guys that are early commits and all that stuff. I knew there's some kids that were going up because I know some buddies that played at Tech. They were going up like if their credits were like transferred well enough, or they kind of plan their high school accordingly, they report early and they go like in January and they go to school there and train for like the whole year. But those are more or less football guys, I think. But still crazy,
sure.
man. These bigger schools do a lot of cool shit. It's like insane.
Like a lot of guys are like, so you're right on the football standpoint. Like, I mean, I had a lot of buddies who like graduated the term because they had X amount of credits, and then but there are also, you see that in baseball too. Like if guys that may not enter the draft for sure, guys that like they want to go to college or something like that, and like whatever the route is, but they'll report in January and start a semester early, or you'll have guys that'll go for summer school to kind of get ahead, and that's what like a lot of my friends that went to Vanderbilt that I knew were the ones that reported early and they started summer school, and so that they got their credits locked away for that spring term when they knew that they'd be busy.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. That's cool. That's tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about baseball. Let's talk about your career a little bit. So, I'm sure you grew up, you said watching it, your brother was playing, your dad was a great baseball player. So you grew up in the sport as well as football. When did you get to the point, and this may be kind of a weird question because kids think all the time when you're young, you're always like, I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player. That's the goal. When was it like, okay, like you're looking at your performance, you're looking at your, being self-aware of like who you are and your talents and your skill level. When was it like, okay, like, hey, either coaches are watching me, like I'm measuring myself up to my talent I'm playing against. Like, when did you say like, okay, hey, this could be something here? You know what I'm saying?
It's really funny you just said like it could be something, because that's like the exact thought process that went through my head.
Yeah.
And especially like looking back on it now that I'm a senior. But so I played like community travel ball for a while, 6 to 13 or 12U. Played with all my buddies, like my best friends. And then I ended up switching to the Bulls 13U year because my local coach was like, hey, I think you can go to the next level. I think you can play at the next level, as in next level of travel ball. So I picked up with another local travel team, but they were like a better local travel team, I guess. And I went and played at this tournament in the summer, my 12th year, when I was already done with my community team. And I actually ended up pitching against the Bulls. And I threw like a one-hitter against him. So the guy, his name's Glenn Moore. He's high up with the Bulls, but he was the 13th black coach. He saw me pitch, obviously, because I threw against his team, and he was like, hey, we want you to come to tryouts. I was like, okay, cool. So I come to Bulls tryouts, I make the team, made black, and then he was like, hey, we want to invite you to the PPR Futures games, Junior Future games. Oh, wow. So at that time, when this was like 2018, I think, they were still in Indiana. They were at Grant Park. And at that time, I had just kind of like surpassed my competition. I had started, I was putting up like video game numbers. Like, I mean, I threw 82 when I was 13. Which I didn't like. That's insane. I didn't really know that at the time, but then like looking back on it, I found out like how crazy that is. Which like I'm blessed. I can't really complain. Like, I mean, I was just blessed with a good arm. So I made the PPR Futures team, and I ended up kind of like going as a pitcher only a little bit. I didn't swing that much there, but then I got put in against Michigan, and we were playing a bunch of kids from Saginaw Bay that were really, really good. They had a really good team called the Saginaw Bay River Dogs, and they were nuts when we were younger. And so it was like all of them on Team Michigan, and I pinched hit in like the bottom of the like sixth, because it was like so 13, so bottom of sixth against Kyle Crow, who threw like 86 when we were 13. It was ridiculous. He's going to Louisville. And I literally just like hit a laser backside, dude. And then literally like that hit like changed things, because I came in to pitch after that, shut him down. We won the game. And then we played Team Arizona after that. And I threw a stellar game, man. It was our Team Louisiana. I threw 5 innings, 2 hits. Like, it was nuts, dude. I was fantastic. It was awesome. And that's kind of when that's when the college recruiting started for me, which I know sounds really weird and crazy. But after that weekend, I mean, IU picked me up, Purdue, Ball State, Michigan. Like, it was nuts. Literally, like, the matter of days. So 13-year things really changed. And then following that would have been my 7th grade summer. So then that following summer, my 8th grade year, I mean, blew up, dude. Like just took off.
Yeah.
PBR, that's when like the rankings came out. So like I was the number one player in the state initially. I was like a top 50 player in the country because I didn't really start out as like a big dog. I started in the 50s and 70s. So
Yeah.
my that initial ranking point. So yeah, that's kind of when everything just went haywire, man. Like 18 schools, I think was my final number right before I committed
Holy
to
crap.
Vandy. And I committed November my freshman year. So my 8th grade winter, I went down for a camp and worked out, kind of like met everybody, and I knew instantly like that was home, man. The
Yeah.
coaching staff was amazing. I come from an academic family. My sister went to Duke and Columbia, and then my brother went to IU and then Bauer Law, and he graduated a total
Okay.
of 3 years early. So my mom was a school
Holy
teacher,
crap.
so like academics was like huge in our family. Like yeah, that always came first. So like I was obviously looking for a school with great academics, and then you mix in not only like staff but also their baseball history at Vanderbilt. Like you just can't go better. Honestly, it was like the big three plus their atmosphere. Big country music guy myself. Nashville's beautiful. So I mean, it was just 4 for 4 right there. A great day to play for Vanderbilt. To be completely honest. They hit every head. So it was awesome. Very happy with my decision there. I'm very excited to get there. But yeah.
Yeah, dude. So that's crazy you say that, man. Like even like I think like even having Vanderbilt come and approach you to like give you an offer, like Vanderbilt with like I mean some of the Swanson, they've got Price, they've got Kumar Rocker, like all those guys that come out of that school are like insane, man. Like that's just like the amount of history and the amount like how well built that coaching staff is. Like funny, we went to the ABCA in January, and I'd never seen Vanderbilt before. We drove over there. That field is gorgeous. Oh my god,
yeah,
dude! It is that beautiful. Campus. Everything is just perfect there, dude. Like
the campus is stunning, man. It's very like
really is.
It's close cornered, but everything is just beautiful. Very well constructed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's Nashville, dude. Nashville's a blast.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's at the end of the day, you're a mile walk from Broadway. Like you cannot complain.
No, dude, that's insane. So I know Vanderbilt, like even in my eyes, I know like you just said that they went 4 for 4, everything that you were looking for in a school, everything you're looking for, and somewhere you're going to spend, a good chunk of your life, 4 years of your life or 3 years of your life. I know you, man, you got some big things coming. So even if you don't, you got 3 years there. That's a good chunk of time. Were there any other schools like that were kind of weighing on you? Because I know like you named like Purdue and a couple other bigger schools. Were there any that were like, man, it's a tough tie, it's a tough close? It's like, was there any other few that were like, dang, like that's another great place and all that?
Yeah. For me, it came down to Vanderbilt and IU, Indiana University.
Okay.
The head coach at IU is actually from Franklin. His dad coached at our high school for 16 years. Our field's named after him. So, and then our families are incredibly close. My brother is best friends with their middle son. So, like the dynamic, I really, really, really loved it there. Plus, it was really close to home. So, like, what we always talk about is it kind of came down to being like a hometown hero or trying to branch out and go be the star at a big place. You know what I'm saying? So, it was a really tough decision, to be completely honest. I mean, it was 2 fantastic schools. I mean, IU is also turning into quite the scholarly school itself. So, I mean, their degrees are really carrying some weight nowadays. So, it was really close, to be completely honest. But at the end of the day, I mean, you really just can't get better than Vanderbilt. And like Coach Mercer at IU really understood that. We had a lot of very good conversations, but honestly, it was really just IU and Vanderbilt. Everybody else just kind of like they were all fantastic, they were all great, but it just wasn't the right fit for me. So Vanderbilt, it was Vanderbilt and IU by a mile, and then Vanderbilt they just hedged along.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, man, because like I know like this is something like obviously I talked to a lot of pro guys, and we talked about either they were going to go to college or they ended up taking a different route. Like I said, we've had multiple pro guys. I know quite a few, and so my thing is like, especially for the kids that are listening that are maybe about to go into the recruiting process or are already in it and are kind of confused, So when you say like I went there and it felt like home, I think that's something like even when I coach, I tell my kids the same thing. Like kids that I've coached now about to go, like because I coach them as young as 6th grade, and I'm watching kids that I've coached go. They're going into their college years now. It's like a lot of them are like, hey, how do I know what school I want to go to? And there's obviously the questions you ask. Obviously, you're in a much different position, bro. You're an all-star. You're going to be something crazy. But some of these kids that are fighting for spots, it's a little different. They're like, hey, I'm juggling a little bit smaller schools. And my thing is like, there's always the kids that are like, well, I don't know. There's a school, we're in Texas, and they're like, well, school in California is calling me. I'm like, you need to go visit. You need to go feel it. You need to feel what it's like on campus. And I really like that you said that when I was there and I experienced it. I talked to the people. I was in the environment. It felt like home, and I think that's huge that a lot of people need to understand, especially going into their college years, because those 4 years for someone a little different is a lot bigger than anything they really think at the time. They're kind of going for cloud, or they're going for what it's going to look like on paper, but feeling it and understanding how you feel when you're in that position is a completely different monster, I think.
Yeah, no,
so
100%.
I appreciate you saying that, so everyone that's listening.
Yeah. No, man, 100%. It's all about feel. It's all about like, what's going to make you the happiest. Then like you kind of just touched on it, like the cloud, the paper. Like at the end of the day, man, you got to find the place that's going to work for you. That's going to want to work towards you. Like they want to respond and be like, hey, this is how we're going to get you to the next level. This is how we're going to make you a player. This is how we're going to get you on the field. Because a lot of guys, like, they're so worried about things they shouldn't. I mean, at the end of the day, you're playing at the next level, and that's better than 97% of high school athletes, man. So, but like for me, it was one of those things where you literally took your first step on the field, and you're like, yep, this is it. It was that easy. I mean, honestly, when you really, really, really know, you'll know. Like, you'll know.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I tell people all the time. You'll know when you're there and you feel it, you'll know. But so let's kind of talk about like where you're playing your extracurricular places. So I saw that you had a pretty clutch big hit in the USA World Cup, which I saw the footage, man. It's insane. It's awesome, dude. Like
awesome.
How, and I know that you touched on it in a couple other places, but how did that feel to represent your country playing and come up in such a clutch spot? And not only that, how special did it feel? Because I know you said you got cut, right? You got cut. Was it 2 times or 1 time before that year?
So I got cut 1 time, and then I couldn't go the following year because I had COVID. So yeah.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, like.
So how did that whole thing feel?
It was quite literally the best experience of baseball I've ever had in my life. There is genuinely nothing better than standing toe to toe with another country, and hearing your national anthem play louder than theirs with a gold medal around your neck.
Dude.
We had so many speeches leading into that by like Doug Makovich. I mean, he won a gold medal, had a huge hit. Like he's won 2 World Series, but he'll always say the World Cup was so much better than that World Series. With so many guys that have been around so much Team USA stuff that like their knowledge was just like we couldn't comprehend it because we had never felt it. But you kind of felt their emotion, and you were like, I wonder what this is going to feel like. And then you finally get there, your first game, you're playing, Korea, and they're unreal. They're lining up, their stretches are perfect. Everybody's on the same step. They're loud, they're energetic. Their national anthem plays, when it ends, they go crazy. Like Chinese Taipei brought like 700 fans, dude. They had drums. They played walk-up songs for their players.
What? Holy crap.
Crazy. In the gold medal game, there's 5,000 people there for the gold medal game. Like the chills, man. It was unreal. And then you're playing a team like Canada, huge competitors. They want it so bad. To them, it's their miracle. You know what I'm saying? Like that's their biggest game, is beating Team USA in baseball. And then having that moment when I got cut my 15-year year, literally heartbroken, like literally bawling my eyes out in my hotel room type thing. Like it was awful. Then 17-year year, I was going to play a year up. So like it's 15 and 18U and 12U. And so my 15 year didn't make it. And 17 I was 17 playing with the 18 team. I got COVID, so I couldn't go, which is awful. So like you finally get the moment that you've been waiting for. And then you hit that was honestly that was the clutchest hit I've ever had, to be completely honest. I mean, it was still, there was still a lot of time in the game, but, we were down by 1, bottom of 6. Like, if we lose that game, we can't play for a gold medal. So it was the most thrilling, energetic floodgate of emotion moment for me ever. It was unreal. Like, I'm so blessed to be in that position because that, for me, that was like every kid's dream. That for me, that was the biggest dream I had. That was the last thing to check off my bucket list for travel baseball, was play for Team USA and win a gold medal. And it was really just like the icing on top of the cake, man. It was your last weekend. as a travel ball player, it was your last season. Like it was just like the end of the road for travel baseball, and it ended with a gold medal for TBSA. Like I couldn't have asked for better. It was unreal.
Dude, that's insane. So like that, you know, it's funny you say that, man, because like obviously we just had the World Baseball Classic, and like I had, you know, I was talking to buddies of mine that are playing, and some that didn't opted not to go, and I'm kind of like, dude, like if you have the opportunity to play for your country, like even if it wasn't USA, like that's such an exciting thing to be a part of, and everyone was kind of, you know, they're shitting on it, they're saying, oh, it's taken away from the real big picture, which is the 2023 season and all this stuff, and I'm like, this is like some of the most exciting, like, and it explains exactly what you just said, like it's some of the most exciting, like baseball we've seen in a really, really long time. And it's like, I think you have to be there to experience it. And even if you ask, like, you know, you saw the interviews with like Turner and Schwarber and all these guys, Trout, like how much emotion they felt like playing that game. I don't think there's much that can really compare to it. And like you just said, it's the same concept. It's like, there's not much that you can even put it up to.
Yeah, to me, there isn't anything. And like, I totally understand the arguments like, oh, I want to be healthy for the organization. That's fine. Like everybody's entitled to their own feelings towards it. But for me, it's not even close. Yeah. And that's no disrespect to any organization out there. Like there's just something about representing a bigger entity than yourself or an organization. And it's even better when you're representing the United States of America.
Exactly, dude. That's wild. So, so as we go into like let's talk about like your so like you play the team today, and now we're going into like you've committed, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, like here come the big league teams, right? So what was like, I'm sure like they had you filling out questionnaires and all that stuff. Obviously that's part of the game. Everyone goes through that aspect of it. How did that feel? Like, was that kind of like a different, like, obviously it's like the colleges, the big time colleges, the Vandies, all these guys are coming to talk to you, commit to Vanderbilt. You've settled that. That's already taken care of. How did it feel when it's like, okay, now big league clubs are coming? Like, all right, how did that change your kind of approach on your career at that point?
Honestly, for me, I enjoyed it. At first it was a little stressful and like just kind of figuring out how to deal with it, how to handle it. And like, you know, just kind of like testing the waters your first 2 or 3 meetings. But like, I just enjoyed it. I mean, it was like you were meeting new people, you were enjoying time with new people, you were learning about these organizations, just kind of getting everybody's backstory. And like for me, I'm a dude, I just love meeting people. I love talking people's stories out and stuff like that. And then I had been around so in 2021, I played for Team Indiana 18U. I was 15, but I played alongside Colson Montgomery, who was the first round pick for the White Sox in 2021. I'd been around that a little bit. Like I was used to the noise, I guess was a good way, because that's when I started getting traction. So like not only were there college guys there, but there were pro guys already there, kind of getting like their first look. I kind of gotten some clout, like I was a top 5 player at this time. So I had been used to like the pressures of playing. But then you just kind of like got to take baseball out of it, just like meet people, learn their story. They got to learn ours, meet the family, come in the house, all of it. Like I thoroughly enjoyed the process with the MLB teams. I mean, and it's far from over, no doubt. But it's like I had a meeting with all 30 teams at my house, so it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good. Like it was good. Honestly, my family learned a lot from it. Just kind of how to handle it, like what to expect coming next 2, 3, 4 months. Yeah, man. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And it definitely was not as stressful as I was anticipating.
Yeah. I've heard it go both ways. You know, I've got buddies that have gone through the same process, you know, and I've heard, that's why I always like to ask. Cause like, you know, obviously your draft day hasn't come, obviously that's coming. Right. So I've heard stories of that. Like, so I like to hear the like how it actually feels and how you carry yourself through those situations. But if that's something you've already like, and it makes sense, right? You've kind of dealt with all that noise, you know, you went through all the colleges, you had everyone coming after you. So you know how to handle yourself in that situation. So, as all this is happening, you're committed. Does any of this, you know, how do you approach? So let's say this. So I did my research. I did my full report on you yesterday, last night as I was doing some stuff, and I found your draft prospect on MLB.com, right? So I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, so he's the top high school prospect, right? That's out there. Everyone sees it. I read it. You know, I was reading it to my roommate, some buddies of mine, and they're like, holy shit, this guy's it's like, yes, dude, like this is insane. Like this is nuts. Like I don't think you quite understand. Like someone played, someone didn't. They're like, you know, I don't know. I'm like, no, dude, like this is a big deal. Like this kid is going to be insane, right? How does that? So like now you're going back, like you said, you played for Team USA, you played for Team Indiana, you're playing with all these big time guys. How do you take that into playing like these high school teams? Because obviously, like high school baseball is going to be completely different. You'll face some stud teams. Every team's got a couple dudes. Like, does that change any of your approach when you go into these games?
No, like I've gotten that question a couple times, and for me, it doesn't change my approach at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a dude who's just gonna go at everybody no matter what. And for me, like I love high school baseball. There's a lot of kids who will like knock on it if they're kind of like a higher, a higher guy, and it's like, dude, those are the best times of my life. Like bus rides, post game meals, like just laugh and be with your buddies. Like this is my. I was just talking about this in a local newspaper article. Like this is my final ride as a high schooler. Regardless on if that's the next level, regardless on if that's pro ball, regardless if it's having a job, like 4 of us are not going to play high school baseball. So we're just having the time of our lives right now.
Yeah.
Like it's so fun. We're a good team. We're young. Like I'm in the leadership position with a couple other guys where we kind of have to not only teach, but like comfort, for lack of a better term, these dudes who, last night we saw a dude, our first 2 games were like, we saw some solid arms, like solid high school guys, 82, 84, 82, 85. Like they were good. You know what I mean? They're good high school arms. But like last night, the dude came out and just randomly top 91. Some random dude, no idea who it was, just top 91. And it's like some of these guys have never been in the position. Like we have 2 freshmen playing and 4 sophomores. They've never seen that. 6 of these dudes are having their first look at varsity baseball. And it's like, that was opening night of conference play. And it was the first dude with 91. So like, for me, it's just like so fun because you never know what you're going to get. Like the energy is so different in high school baseball because everybody knows everybody, especially in our conference, because every school is within 15 minutes. They're like 30 minutes of each other. So literally everybody knows everybody. So there's a bunch of like personal banter and like I'm friends with all the kids. Like I hung out with at least like 5 players on every conference team. You know what I mean? Like everybody's friends with everybody. Everybody knows like the behind the scenes of everybody, or like like it's so fun, man. Last night was such like it was so chirpy, it was so fun, it was packed, it was beautiful last night too. So like I don't know, man. I love high school baseball. I think it's a blast. But yeah, I mean, like we're just kind of going at the season like one step at a time right now. So we're off to a good start. I'm very happy with where we are as a team, especially offensively. So. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. Yeah,
it's funny because I saw that video and I reposted it on my page. I reposted that one of you dropping that bomb a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Dude, your swing is so smooth. Like, what? And I wanted to talk about your approach to the plate and stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. But like, so I got a kid, man. This kid. It's funny that you're committed to Vanderbilt, and I coach this middle school team, and this kid, he's a shortstop for us, dude. And it's almost like watching this kid play. Like he's got double-digit homers, bro. Like he's an 8th grader. He's gonna go to high school next year. Like. And he's probably the smoothest kid I've seen in a really long time. And he'll just drop absolute nukes, dude. I mean, it really like, and this is what I told his dad, because his dad's asking me about it. I'm just like, and the kid's awesome, dude. He's such a humble kid. Like it feels like he's a kid playing, like an adult playing against like children. Like it's that big of a talent gap. Like it's nuts, dude. And like, I'm talking to his dad and I'm like, man, like just, you got to keep training. You got to keep making sure. And he was like, oh no, he loves this. Like, and I'm like, but he's like, he loves playing with his friends and he loves just like hanging out and having a blast. And I'm like, that is exactly what this should be about, dude. It's not like I'm better than everybody. Like, and they act like a douchebag, or like this kid is like, and he reminds me so much of like you and your game, because like this kid's going to do some big stuff, bro. Like, he's that good. Like he's throwing gas. We don't put guns on him because they're 8th graders. I'm just like, this is a little bit too much. Like, I'm not going to bring out my reps.
As you should. Thank God. Thank you.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like,
so
yes.
Yeah.
But you're 100% right. That's literally like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I made sure to tell his parents that, because I'm like, look, your kid's going to the high school I went to. They got a great coach there. Like, just keep making sure that he's just like in love with the game, because the more that he's in love with the game, the better his game's going to get. Like, if he's just having a blast, like, I don't care. Like, I don't let them see their stats, because this dude has to have like 10, 12 home runs in like 10 games. Like, it's that ridiculous. And I'm just like, you just need to make sure that he just keeps playing. So like, I just wanted to like, that's how, if that's how you approach it, I think that's the right way to play it, man. Just go out there and have a blast, like enjoy every minute. Cause like, regardless of what happens next, like you have to take these memories with you, man.
Yeah. 100%. You hit the nail on the head with that one. That's yeah, exactly.
So I was looking at your stuff, man. You do clock out at 99. Is that actually true? You throw 99 from the bump?
It is true. Yeah. I was, back in my pitching days. Yeah. I was definitely. So I enjoyed it, man. It's fun being on that island.
Dude, it is. So like, how, so I know you said you were throwing 82 at like 13, right? So when you hit your first 9, how old were you when you hit your first 9?
Freshman. So yeah, freshman high school
You
season,
were
I
a
top
freshman?
92.
Holy
Yeah.
crap. And there was no thought to like, maybe I'll be a pitcher. Maybe I'll take
Oh,
this
dude,
all the way.
no way. Oh my God. I could never be a PO. Dude. I couldn't live that lifestyle.
Really?
There's no way. I would figure out how to hit. I would teach myself how to hit right-handed. Like if I couldn't hit lefty, I'd figure out how to hit righty. Like
Really?
pitching is
Even
fun,
without,
but
yeah.
gosh, man, no way.
Too boring for you or what?
Yeah, way too boring. Like it's just I don't know. It's way less competitive. It's way less action. Um, for me, I think it takes way bigger toll on your body. Plus, you have
It
to train
does.
a little
That
differently.
it
Like,
does.
I mean, I train like a football player, man. Like, I couldn't train like that if I was a pitcher. I'd probably end up doing something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you would. But so that's like, I forgot who I was talking to about it, man. I was like, we were looking at your videos and I was like, dude, this kid throws some shed, like he throws cats. Like I was like, man, there has to have been some point in your head where you're like, hey, if I'm throwing this hard, like, maybe I can do it. But like I guess that makes sense. Like you throw your game and then you're sitting for 5. That is tough. That
Yeah,
takes
yeah,
a
that's what I'm
special kind of
saying. Like,
mentality.
I want to
Yeah.
be an impact in every single game, which is why it's nice that I do pitch because you're having a bad day at the plate, you can come in and throw some steam and get a 0 ERA day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is a plus of it. But yeah, there's just no way. I'm way too much of a like hands-on, impactful guy that just I want to be in every single game I can. So
Yeah.
I would like the two-way opportunities there at the next level, whatever it may be. Like I'm in. I'm all in on that. Like I'm all in on that.
So so now you bring up the 2-way. Let me ask you, do you think that there's a way, maybe possibly, I don't think, and obviously I don't know enough about Vanderbilt to even ask that question, and I'm sure you don't either, but like, do you think if there was a possibility down the line, let's see, like in a couple of years, let's say that we make it to pro ball and you're like, hey, somebody offers you the 2-way, is that something that you think you would explore now that like Shohei and all these guys are paving a different way in the game?
Yeah, I think it'd be a blast just because I could be like a more versatile guy. I mean, I think if we go the college route, I mean, I think there's a chance that I would be a closer for them. I mean, like a legitimate like lefty out of the bullpen closer, just to kind of come in and blow some smoke. I mean, I have a pretty solid like 2-pitch mix, and then the changeup's like it's honestly getting there. So I mean, you give me with Coach Brownie in the pitching lab, dude, it's gonna be raps. Like we're gonna be different.
Have you seen that pitching lab they have?
Oh,
I'm sure you have.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Dude, how is it in person? I've seen pictures. How is that pitching lab?
It's unreal, dude. Like it literally looks like a scientific lab. Like it's crazy. It's so cool.
That's crazy. That's insane. Yeah, I've seen pictures of it, and I'm just like, as a pitcher, I was a PO for a while. I used to catch, but now like when I finished my college career, I was a PO, and I was always looking at that place like, holy crap, I wish I could just like take a step in there and see what's going on. Like be a fly on the wall in some of those conversations that they're talking about and like looking at all the data and the dynamics. I'm like, holy crap, this is a pitcher's heaven.
Like
it's insane.
Literally, like the thing that I saw of it was you could throw a pitch, and then there was a playback screen for the pitcher and a playback screen for the catcher. So not only could the catcher or like the pitcher like see what his mechanics were, but the catcher could see how well he was receiving.
That's insane.
Because it was a front on angle. It was like it was an Edgertronic and it was a front angle, dude. It was nuts. It was crazy.
That's crazy. That's freaking nuts, dude. So as we move forward, let's get we're nearing the time. So I want to ask, so like as you play and everything like that, and like I guess we kind of touched on it, like how you approach the games from a physical standpoint. Is there anything you've had to do like? Because I know like, and this is something like my brother was a highly recruited kid, so I know exactly how he felt and how he told me about it. Like having like 6, 7, 8 scouts in the stands, like. What do you tell yourself when you're going into these games? I guess before you were committed, before everything was kind of set for you at this point. Well, not everything's fully set, but you have a path already paved for you, ready to go, and it's a great path, by the way. Was there something you were telling yourself in your head that kept you locked in, rather than like kind of getting too much in your head and thinking like, oh, I have to do this, I have to perform to this level because there's people here to watch me, there's video cameras, and how did you kind of settle your mind down and just play?
For me, it was just about having fun, man. Like I feel like when I would play bad, it's because I was either too focused on playing and not just having fun. Like when you just go out there and play and you enjoy the game and you do things the right way, like that's when you're having the most fun anyway. So it makes the game easier.
Yeah.
When you're not worried about other things, like other factors, you're just out there having fun. It makes the game so much easier. You can slow the game down and just enjoy it. Like for me, it was just always about just enjoying the game, having fun, going out there competing. And just doing everything to the best of your ability, playing 110%.
Yeah, man. I think that's what it is. Because I talked to my buddy Noah, and he played at UT Arlington. He got drafted in, I think, like the 12th round, and he ended up playing, and then he was a COVID cut. That sucks. But that was one of the things he said he struggled with. It was like, okay, like he started getting traction. He started putting up like 16 homer seasons, and then all of a sudden people start showing up, and he's a small town kid. He's like, I didn't really know how to handle it at first. And I think that for a lot of highly recruited kids, like that can be a shock, like to go to a game and you're like, okay, I'm going to play. And then all of a sudden you come up and everyone's doing this, or everyone's got their notepad up, and that can be a little bit that can be a lot. So I think that, like, especially for kids going through the recruiting process, like how you just said it, like, let's just go out and have fun. Let's just play the same game we were playing. Like, you have to block out the external distractions and just play. I think that's huge, especially like with someone as touted as yourself. Like there's got to be, I'm sure, plenty of scouts at your games, man. That's got to be nuts. But I'm glad that you've kind of been exposed to this part of the game for a long time now. So I'm sure it's like second nature. Like, oh yeah, they're here, whatever. I'm just gonna do my thing. So that's pretty tight.
For sure. And like I said, I think playing in that my freshman year with like Colson and them, it kind of got me a little like used to it at a young age. So then by the time it kept building, I was like, oh, okay, it's just some guys. Like, let's just go out there and play. They're here because they know what you can do. So just go out and be you. You don't really do anything special.
Yeah. So you're an outfielder, right? So you play what? Right field or left field, or is it center? Center. Ooh, you're center fielder. Yeah, because I saw you're pretty fast too, bro. You can run, you can track some balls down, man. And then you bat, so you hit, you're a center fielder hitter. So what is your approach at the plate? So I know, like, obviously, do you have a different approach? Like, obviously, like I know we said, like, there's kids that'll just come out and throw 91 there out of nowhere. So is there anything what's your approach to the plate? What are you looking for? Is there any sort of like ticks and movements you're looking for in a pitcher? Are you looking for tip pitches? What are you doing at the plate to help you succeed?
So I've been hitting in the 2-hole recently, so it does give me like a little bit to kind of pick up on little like just tips here and there. I mean, a lot of guys in high school will slow down their body when they're throwing breaking balls, so it makes it easier to see that. But once I'm actually in the box, I'm actually just focused on the spin of the ball. I try and pick it up early out of the hand and just see what I can do. I'm a dude who's always going to try and go gap to gap, and then if they miss a spot, that's when you let it hammer. For me, I'm a dude who will swing early. Like, I try and get up. I'm aggressive, so I'm looking for anything in the zone my first pitch, especially like in high school, because I feel like I get thrown around sometimes. So yeah, I'm really just looking for that first pitch. Either if it's a breaking ball, they're trying to get me over for a strike. They're trying to go down and out with a fastball, something that you can't really like pull for a home run, but if you get your barrel to it, it's going to go type deal. Just anything that I can kind of do damage with, I'm just swinging at first pitch. Doesn't matter if it's fastball, changeup, breaking ball, knuckleball, splitter, whatever. If it's a damageable pitch, I'm going to take a hack at it.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Like that's one of the cool things I appreciate about your game. Like I didn't want to look at your MLB report. I didn't want to look at any of that. I wanted to watch film on you before I made any assumptions. And I was looking at it and I was like, there's some big prospects. Like, you look at these college guys, and obviously they're like, no offense to you, they're just more developed. They're older men. They're like 24, 25, or 18 years old. Like, it's a much different body. Like, who knows where you're going to be? You could be insane by 24. Who knows, right? But I'm sitting here and I'm looking at your swing. You got such an easy level swing. It's not like overly like I don't know what you call it. Like, it's just too much where people are just inadvertently trying to drop bombs to like put some stuff on paper. And I'm like looking at your swing, and it's such like, you're a gap to gap guy, man. Like, and obviously with the gap to gap, you piece balls, they're going to go. But I think that's like, that really helps you, and it helps your stock, man. It's like, you're just putting balls, you're just looking for line drives, and you let everything else come. And I think that's like super impressive, especially with someone your age. Like, I think there's too many kids these days, they're just focused on just trying to drop as many nukes as they can. It's just like, that's not baseball. Like, play the game at a level and easy way. And I think, has there anything that's really been an influence to your game that changed that prospect? Because I know, like, obviously going into all these meetings with these clubs, they want homers. That's anyone in the big leagues, they want bombs, they want homers. Is there anything that you were like, I'm not doing that, I'm just going to play baseball? Were there any influences that changed your mindset? Were there any kind of different approaches you had in the past, anything like that?
Honestly, for me, like, that's actually a really good question. In the kindest way, like, I just kind of go out there and do me. I feel like I'm in a position where my bat to ball and my pitch recognition skills are so elite that I can get away with driving balls the other way because I'm only swinging at strikes. Like, I was looking at some synergy data the other day, and across the last 3 years, I've seen 1,500 pitches. I've swung and missed 76 times.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's the bat to ball skills are there. They're elite. They're advanced. So it's like, I'm just kind of letting the hands do the work. Like, the power is there. It's more about, I'm going to do the best I can to do the job needed. Right. I've started, like, this year, I reworked my swing a little bit, and I had a bit of a path issue. which was obviously not helping with the bomb issue. So like I reworked my hands, and now the loft is there, which is already leading. I mean, I'm 9 for 12 this season across 3 games, and I have 5 extra base hits. And last year I had like 14 total. So it's like, but not only have I put on some strength, but I've also reworked the swing to where I'm creating more loft, and the balls in the gaps are turning into balls off the wall at the gap versus, a couple like 3-hopper and it's rolling or something like that. So with the path adjustment, that gap to gap power has gone way up, which I think is already starting to kind of erase like the one thing that people question about me when if you see a scouting report is like, we need to see what the power is going to do. And I think I've slowly started erasing those claims because, I mean, first scrimmage, got walked 3 times without swinging a pitch. And then that bat went oppo off the scoreboard, which I've never hit a ball oppo out in my life. So that it was immediate reaction to, okay, clearly there's been a change because he's never done that before. Like even in BP, I'd struggle to get the ball up and out on away pitches. Like I could drive it the other way, but it was actually lofting it and getting it going on the left side of the field just because of my swing path. And then then I hit the one the other night that literally landed in my football bleachers. So that obviously helped erase claims.
That was
that ball. That might have been the farthest ball I've ever hit in my life, including batting practice.
Is that the one that you hit and the pitcher was like kind of like, oh shit, you just hit that?
Yeah, he goes, that one felt really good. And like the funny thing was like the pitcher was like super cool about it. He texted me afterwards. He goes, oh my God. He was so chill, dude.
It's part of the game, man. At least like the cool thing is like playing against somebody like you, I guess like from another school is like playing against you is like, that's going to be like, it's going to be a memory forever. Like you're going to do some big things and they're going to look back and be like, there was one time that Max Clark hit 900 feet off me. So I have that. And they're going to tell that. That's going to be a story for the ages, bro. But dude, I know we're approaching an hour. I appreciate your time. And is there anything you want to tell our fan base or anything you want to say? The floor is yours for the last couple of seconds. All yours, man.
Well, hey guys, I appreciate you having me on. First off, shout out Baseball Express. But for real, guys, I've always been saying this, but anytime that any of the listeners may need something from me, my DMs are always open. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter, and I try and get back to anybody, player, parent, whatever they need. So Elijah can also help if he gets some feedback. So I'd love to be here to help out. But yeah, I appreciate all your guys' support and much love.
Yeah, man. So you don't have to hang up right away. We'll go ahead and I'll give you some pointers after the conversation's over. But man, we really appreciate it over here. We're big fans. Can't wait to see what happens to you, man. What's coming for you, dude? You got some really big things coming, and I respect your game and I respect the way you play it, dude. Like, it's a special kid. You're a special mindset, man, to go into games like this with how much buzz and how much pop you have and how much I was talking to Brian over at Kraken. He called you the drippiest player he's ever seen, and I'm like, damn, that's pretty damn cool. Like, you got some drip, bro. You got some good stuff going, man. But yeah, dude, like I said, we really appreciated having you on, man, and we'll hope to catch you some other time. Hopefully, we'll be watching you. I know we'll be watching you wherever you land in the next couple months. We'll be watching. But yeah, man, thanks so much, and thank you everybody for listening. This episode should be available on Monday the 10th. This should be up and running. But thank you all for watching so much. You can catch this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. And we'll be sure to catch you guys in the next one. Thanks so much, Max.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.